Welcome to the Trump-like News newsletter, where we bring you the hottest political news with a little laugh. Today we have a special story from former President Donald Trump. He is not only famous for his stormy tweets, but also for the policies that made the whole country take off their hats or put on their helmets. Recently, Mr. Trump asked the Supreme Court to reinstate the ban on transgender people serving in the military. Yes, you heard that right. After the policy was blocked by lower courts, Mr. Trump decided to escalate to the legal peak to continue his fight. The reason? He believes that the presence of transgender people in the military affects combat readiness. We don't know if he has any specific evidence for this, but he certainly has a strong belief. Meanwhile, transgender rights organizations and many veterans have spoken out against the policy, arguing that this policy is discriminatory and violates constitutional rights. Some have even joked that if Trump keeps this up, he might propose a military for people without distinctive characteristics only. So, what's really going on? Will the Supreme Court approve Trump's request? And how will this affect the thousands of transgender people serving in the military? Let's dive into this story to find out. Let's take a look back at the journey of U.S. military policy toward transgender people, a political roller coaster over the past decade. 2016. Under President Barack Obama, the U.S. Department of Defense lifts the ban, allowing transgender people to serve openly in the military. 2017. Just a year later, President Donald Trump announced on Twitter that he would ban transgender people from serving in the military, leading to controversy and lawsuits. 2019. After several court hearings, the Supreme Court allows Trump's ban to take effect while the lawsuits continue. 2021. President Joe Biden signs an executive order reversing the ban, restoring the right for transgender people to serve in the military. 2025. In his second term, Trump signs an executive order in January to reimpose a ban on transgender people serving in the military. However, the order is blocked by a lower court ruling. And now, Trump is asking the Supreme Court to let the ban go into effect while the lawsuits are still being considered. In January 2025, President Trump signed an executive order banning transgender people from serving in the military, citing efficiency and discipline reasons. The order sparked strong protests from human rights organizations, military personnel, and the LGBTQ+ community. Organizations such as the ACLU and GLAAD were quick to speak out, arguing that the ban was discriminatory and violated the rights of transgender people. Many protests took place across the U.S., with thousands of people taking to the streets to protest the new policy. Some transgender soldiers who have served in the military with distinction expressed disappointment and concern about their future. They said that the ban not only affects their personal rights but also undermines morale and unity in the military. Meanwhile, legal experts and human rights activists are preparing legal actions to challenge the ban, for that it violates the Constitution and fundamental principles of human rights. On March 18, 2025, Judge Ana Reyes of the District of Columbia issued a nationwide injunction against the order, arguing that it likely violated the constitutional rights of transgender service members. Judge Reyes criticized the order as an attempt to label a group of people as dishonest, dishonorable, undisciplined, unhumble, and unintegrated, people who have sworn to protect the country and have served under fire. Not accepting the ruling, the Trump administration appealed, and on April 24, 2025, filed a petition asking the U.S. Supreme Court to lift the ban and allow it to take effect while the lawsuits were being considered. The Justice Department argued that the ban was necessary to maintain military efficiency and discipline, and that the lower courts had exceeded their authority by interfering with the executive branch's decisions about who could serve in the military. The Supreme Court, which currently has a 6-3 conservative majority, is considering the request. In 2019, the court allowed a limited ban on transgender service members to stand, setting a precedent for the current decision. Legal experts predict the court will likely uphold the ban, given its history of giving the military broad latitude in personnel decisions. If the ban on transgender people serving in the military is upheld, we can imagine some of the following hilarious and absurd scenarios. Gender screening before training. Every morning, instead of having their uniforms or weapons checked, soldiers line up to have their gender screened. An officer holds up a sign and asks, "Have you reassigned your gender?" If yes, please fill out Form 47B. Special unit to deal with gender issues. A new unit called the Gender Classification Team was established, which was tasked with examining and classifying soldiers according to their biological sex. They had their own uniform with a magnifying glass symbolizing their gender. Special training for transgender soldiers. Transgender soldiers must attend a special training course called How to Not Be Detected. The content includes how to walk, talk, and even breathe to conform to their biological sex. Real gender test. Before each mission, soldiers must pass a test called What is Your Real Gender? With questions such as, do you like pink or blue? Did you play with dolls or tanks when you were a child? While politicians debate the ban on transgender people serving in the military, transgender soldiers are still doing their duty day and night to protect the country. They not only face enemies outside, but also have to fight for recognition and respect within their own ranks. If this ban is maintained, will the U.S. military have to organize gender testing before every training session? Or will there be a special unit to handle gender issues? A prospect that is both absurd and hilarious. If you believe that everyone, regardless of gender identity, deserves respect and has the right to serve our country, speak up. Share this video, discuss it with your friends and family, and stand up for the rights of all.